How's your sound?
Hugh Lunn here for YouTube Fruit.
The fruit shop. The
I said
local
I
fruit
didn't
shop.
make any blue.
Morning ladies and gentlemen, Peter Racer here from Frew Park YouTube channel, and behind us here is the Wendy Turnbull green. And Wendy, I know that you love looking at your green, and you can see it's actually got grass now. And with us today, Hugh Lunn, famous author of the book The Great Fletch, and Geoffrey Roger Rowe, who you've seen on the YouTube channel previously, who is the scriptwriter of the movie The Great Fletch. Now, so this morning's task is tying in the progress of the movie as we talk about the progress of Brisbane's latest addition to the tennis narrative, Frew Park. So, which one? Who's going to give us an update?
I'll first say that this is the old Milton Tennis Centre right there, and where that shed is was where the centre court was, and that's where Kenny Fletcher used to play, and Frankie Gorman whacked the balls up this street. About 2 blocks they went. And so it's because of the antics of people like Frankie Gorman and Kenny Fletcher, and this is the world who admired them and watched Fletch play all those Wimbledon finals, that this is where he came from, and this is where all those Queenslanders, Labour and Emerson and Anderson and Fletcher and Gorman, learnt to play right there.
That's a great piece of history. Geoffrey, you're a man of many articulate words.
Well, Hugh would say, correctly said, Ken Fletcher was the best tennis player to come from Brisbane.
That's true.
So what I'm confronted with here, but in a good way, and as is part of the script as it's developing, we have this character that is Brisbane itself. And of course, as we all know, the G20 is going to be here in November, and to me that's a penultimate maturity of Brisbane, if you like. But in our own backyard we have the tennis courts happening, and we've got Frankie Gorman hitting tennis balls out of here. We've got an old building here that used to service rock and roll and the Platters, I believe.
Well, I went to see the Platters in the grandstands there. There was the only wooden tennis centre in the world, because the air used to blow through it, and when they weren't playing tennis there, they'd put on big shows that came to Brisbane, and I saw Johnny O'Keefe there, and I saw the Platters there, and other people saw the Rolling. Was it you who saw the Rolling Stones?
No, my eldest brother did.
Yeah.
Deep Purple as well. Anyway, the short of the question is what it all infers is that there's a great complexity, that you have a story about this Brisbane tennis player, the best tennis player to come from Brisbane. You have this character Brisbane, and there's this great maturity, but there's a great complexity with all the characters, and Rod Laver, Roy Emerson, Daphne Fancutt,
John Newcombe.
Yeah, it's a great narrative, absolutely fantastic narrative. And so the movie is inching ever so slowly to being up on the big screen. It's
well,
hard
Peter,
yards,
it's being
isn't
scripted as we speak, but we're getting closer to the idea that it could be really best serviced as being a 3-part television delivery, perhaps even more, because there is such a complexity to the story.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Absolutely.
And you could have the 3 parts: game, set and match.
Just like your book.
Yeah, and people all around the world remember Kenny Fletcher because he won titles in the Philippines and in Czechoslovakia and in Germany and in South America, and so there are people all around in every country of the world, and he played in every country, and they know him, and he came from Brisbane, and he was unbeatable. Everyone said Fletch is unbeatable. We all knew he was unbeatable, and he went up to Central Queensland to play in the championship, and some bloke beat him. No one could believe it. We thought he must have been sick or in hospital or something, and it was a bloke 2 years older than him, we hadn't heard of before. It was the junior title, called Rod Laver, and Rod Laver became Kenny's nemesis. which would be part of your script, I imagine, Jeff.
No, actually his nemesis is John Newcombe, funnily enough.
Well, John Newcombe was 2
He's
years
like
behind him. He was caught between Laver and Newcombe.
Yeah, but John Newcombe's kind of like the Iago to Fletcher's Othello sort of thing.
Oh, I'm getting
That's a
very
backhanded way of saying it. It's not like he's an out-and-out bastard. I don't know the guy.
Poor old Nuke. Well, he's a nice
He just
guy.
services the film very well, as you said. I mean, Rod Laver, that's an interesting call.
Okay.
So, as you can see, this is a fascinating tale, and it is woven into this great Brisbane narrative for tennis that's been emerging over the last couple of years. And so at this point, I'll finish off this particular YouTube, but there are more in this little vignette in the ending stage prior to Frew Park opening in its soft mode, according to the Lord Mayor, and that's going to be the 29th of November. So stay tuned, because that date may change, because you can see that grass is a little bit brown, so we need a little bit of rain for the grass and the trees to take off, but hopefully all things will be right. And with that, I'll say good afternoon and thank you.
Thank you.
It was really one of the highlights, I suppose, of mine and Daph's career. In 1956 we travelled separately, we called it privately in those days. We went to Wimbledon in 56 by ship,